It was supposed to be 10 things I wish I knew in Bellwright, but I just couldn't stop. So here's 20 things that I wish I knew in Bellwright since the big update, and maybe even a little bonus one at the end. How to switch your new settlement to be your main settlement for trading and everything else. In a tier 3 village, you can walk up to the town overview, or you can just look at any of the towns, choose the one that you want to be your main settlement now, and next to the name, click on this icon that says Make Main Settlement. You want to make this new home your main settlement? Yes. Now, this doesn't have that marker, and these are pulsing for me, showing that now if I do add one for my army, it's going to be pulling from people that are at my new home. And if I hit K to pull up my reservist, it's going to now be pulling from the people that are here. Just kidding, get back to work. And now when I do trades, I'll be trading with resources from here. Remember, after changing which settlement is your main settlement, to go and look at your deliveries that are happening for resources between outposts and see if any of those need to be adjusted as well. If you know that you have something in storage but you need to find it, or someone new has joined your game and needs to find where things are, you can go into your settlement tab, click on storage, choose what you're looking for, like resources, and then scroll down. I'm looking for River Reed. Here's River Reed, but where is it at? There's a little magnifying glass right here, and I can click that for find, and it will mark it on my mini map and actually in the world, so that I can walk right over to where it is and get it. When you're placing down a new workshop or storage system, you don't have to wait for it to be built to say what you want in it now. You can go up to this signpost and choose it all, but instead of choosing it all every single time, you can go up here on the right to copy rules and select which rules you want it to have based on one you've done before. I'm moving from a chest for my farm to a barn, so I'm just going to copy the rules for the chest for farm seeds. And everything that I've selected yes and no underneath is automatically there. And they'll start following as soon as it's built. When you're using the wonderful Roadmaker tool to plan out your village, be careful about how you plan things out and where you place the roads. Sometimes you may want to put the buildings down first before the roads, or at least the main ones, because when you go to place down anything that you're going to build later on, just like the roads that are already on the map, a road will block an item from being placed there, even for some amount of distance to the side of it. Calling up troops to fight a raid when it's not at your main settlement. Go to the flag and at the top hit Call to Arms. Then you can make them be on guard or turn them into companions. Anyone that's marked as a reservist will join you in your army, then have them stock up just like you would if it was in your main settlement. If you use the quick key of O to pull up an army, it will only recruit people to squads from your home base. When you're out clearing bandit camps or in battles in general, if you and all your companions run out of storage space, go ahead and read all the books that you've gathered to other people, and you can still have them loot the area even if you're still full, because coins take up no space. An easy way to get a lot of people to read books quickly, if you don't want to go through and decide who needs to read what right now, is to hit N for your settlement tab, look at population, go into the first person, look at their attributes. If you have a bunch of books in your inventory at the same time, just look at their attributes, say, okay, this person can read this one, and then up here, just scroll to the next person, click to have them read an available book, and keep going down the line. It can be very helpful when you're naming storages or workshops, particularly in outposts to add something in the name that tells you kind of where it is. So that way, when you get an alert that something is missing or needs to be addressed in your notifications, you'll know where that is. Pickaxe is missing for mining hut number 3. Where is that? Maybe I have half a dozen. I have no idea. They're all over the map. Or if you have someone new joining your game, you're playing in multiplayer, it can be confusing where to find things. But an easy way to find out where they are is to go into your settlement tab, look at the buildings section. Any with an issue will be marked in red. And if you want to find out where that is, if you scroll right here, there's a little magnifying glass. You can click on this to find, and it places a marker on it. So you see it on your mini map and on your big map. So you'll know exactly where the offending item is at. Or your friend will know where to go to work on the task that they want to work on, because you can see it marked in the world and run right over there. If you think there's useful info here, please leave a like. And subscribing is free. Help me get to 10,000. It's a little thing for you, but means the world to me. Thanks. Sometimes when you place down a player's house or certain other player homes, they can be placed in a weird way because of the way the land is done, that you can't quite get through the door. Of course, you could relocate and rebuild it. However, sometimes you can just come around to the back. You can still access the storage, and you can sleep in the bed from right here. If you've noticed that sometimes when you call your people to arms, instead of getting a shield, they're using a tool or maybe keeping a wood cutting axe on their back instead of getting a shield to go with their weapon, you can change this so that they don't do that in the presets, either through the menu or going right up to the staging ground. Say you have them set as Vanguard for their gear preset. If you click on that preset and go to edit, you see the ones that are in there automatically allow them to use a two-handed weapon as well as a one-handed weapon. And it allows them to use a weapon as a backup for their shield. You can create a new preset and name it whatever you like. I made mine Heavy Vanguard, and I allow for the primary weapon only a one-handed. Two-handed can't be used as a backup. And for the secondary weapon, only a shield. No wood cutting axes allowed. That way, even if they have one in their hand because they've been working, they'll make sure to put it away and pull out their shield when it's time to fight. You can make preset armor sets for specific jobs around your village so that workers will make use of the different types of bags that are available. For example, if I want a farmer to use the seed bag to create a farmer profile, I'll go to my farmer, and for their status when they're a worker, I'll edit their current status. Currently, my farmer is using Archer Heavy. I don't want to have them change everything. I just want them to be able to use the seed bag when they're working. So I'm just going to copy Archer Heavy by hitting this duplicate button. Then I'm going to come to the copy. I'm going to rename this Farmer. Now I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom where they have their backpack slot. And I'm going to say that for the seed pouch, that's the highest priority. I'm going to move the others down to lower priorities. Now I'm going to make sure that my farmer has Archer Farmer selected as their worker role, leaving Archer Heavy as their companion and guard role. So if I call them up from farming to fight, they'll put down their seed bag and pick up their backpack. Thanks, Joseph. Of course, you can do the same thing with the other inventory slots as well, whether it's giving a secondary farmer a watering pot or giving a lumberjack a log sling. Now he's not a companion anymore, so he's gonna go change to a seed pouch. Good job, Joseph. If someone just hasn't been pulling their weight and they're not going to be able to because their skills are a lot lower than everyone else you have at this point and they can't get very high, then you can go in and switch their preset to villager for when they're a worker or companion. Tell them to go ahead and stock up. and they'll go and switch back to villager clothes. Take away any bags if you don't want them to take them back to the village with you. I'm afraid it's time to say goodbye, Maggie. Time to go back to Bradford. I have upgraded her with books and things along the way, so I'm gonna be getting more than I hired her for. Gonna hit expel. Yes, I'm sure. Later, Maggie. Oh, you can take a nap before you get on the road. That's fine. Now I have that renown back, so I can go and hire someone else from a village that I have been training up warriors in, or a tradesperson that I need. You may notice when you walk up to some workstations, there's this little box right here with a plus or minus next to it. What that's referring to is the tool that's used for that particular workstation and how many you want them to keep in here. I have this one set to 3. It shows 2, but he's actually using one right now. It's very helpful right next to your home travel sign to keep a chest, at least, where inside everything is turned off, that nothing's allowed to be there. That way, when you hop home, you can just drop everything in that you've gathered in your inventory and go on another adventure or go about your business, and your workers will come and sort it out where it needs to go. I do also like to set this to have 1 resource with a minimum and maximum of 2 in there, and that's my Shipwright Pack. So when I want to grab one, I always know where it is on the way out the door. Thanks, guys. If you want to have some control over what your villagers are eating, then you need to look at where they're getting their food from and how it's in storage. In this food cellar, I have selected that only cooked foods can be in here and things that are high value, like apples, because they're harder to get. I want them in the food cellar because they stay good longer. However, I also have random food in this warehouse over here. Now, if I want them to get cooked food instead of raw ingredients like turnips or mushrooms, then I need to recognize that villagers will get food from containers starting from the top left and going to the bottom right. And also, they will not mix cooked foods with raw foods. So if I put a cooked food, like this mushroom stew that I have a lot of, as the first food in the storage, then they'll go down from there and they'll get the next several cooked foods. If I mainly want them eating health foods instead of stamina foods, then I can put all of my health foods first. And that's the order they'll get them in, from left to right. So now I can see that Emma consumed all cooked foods. If I want them to focus on eating a food that has a certain stat effect, like increasing productivity by 40%, I can put that at the beginning, and that'll be the first food that they get out of the cabinet. And if I want to get really particular about it, if we're about to go to battle, I can come and change these so that foods with combat attributes are first. So they'll stock up on combat foods, like spicy hearty meat stew for an extra 30% in combat attributes, or level 2 fine stew for an extra 20%. But I'm going to keep my raw ingredients at the end, as well as the foods that I want to save for myself. You can relocate any building that you've built on the map. If I look at the map and hover over this apiary, left click gives me details, center mouse button says relocate. Now I have its ghost available. I can decide to scoot it back some. Now my villagers will come and get the parts and move it over to the new spot. You're doing great work. The river dock is very particular about where it will be placed. The boat has to be in the water. Rocks can't block it, dead trees can't block it. The entire dock part has to be stabilized. Although it doesn't have to be placed on a river, it can be placed in a lake and will still work as long as you can find a lake with enough room for it to fit. When you're working on increasing your status with a town, you can build village improvements that increase trust This is a way to get to a higher status with the village faster than just doing missions for people. The supplies will be automatically delivered through a midnight transport from storage at your main village to the blueprint on the ground, and then the local villagers will build it together for you, automatically increasing your trust with the town. River docks are often built kind of in the middle of nowhere. There may not be a road nearby that you can put a travel sign to, and you need a Shipwright Pack whenever you're going to repair them. If you don't always have one on you, of course, you can make a storage to keep one by the dock. However, unless you want your workers walking all across the map, to keep a couple stocked in there. And also, if your docks are in the middle of nowhere and considered part of your main settlement, then your guards will wander all over the map to go and check them out and make sure they're safe. You'll want to do deliveries. The problem is, for deliveries to work, the target settlement needs at least one villager. So it's nice to define a dock as its own little settlement. So why not do a solid for a homeless beggar in a nearby town? If you put down one level 1 hut, they can be your dock worker, deliver a little bit of basic food, and you can have your Shipwright's Pack on site, ready to go whenever you need it. The beggar's not homeless anymore, and it doesn't matter that they're a crummy worker with crummy stats. When you've liberated villages and you're doing your daily trading, of course you can trade for anything that you have excess of, or you can plan production for good trading. One good example of this is weaving together something like the rawhide jerkin, which is a medium armor. In order to make this, it only takes 2 pelt, 2 linen, and 1 hide. However, when you go to trade, you can choose armors, and you can see that the rawhide jerkin is worth 220 gold each, compared to even way more advanced armors that have a lower value. Thank you. Now that's a good deal. There are more fast travel points on the map than you may realize. Of course, you can travel from a sign that you've built to another one. But once you've built a T3 village, you can also travel directly to Town Hall. If you like Get to the Point guides, make sure to subscribe for more Bellwright. Until next time, happy gaming!